Hey guys, I hope you're doing so well today. So if you are new here, hi, welcome. I read Reddit stories. This is going to be kind of like my Reddit story channel, Reddit story times, Reddit readings, whatever you want to call it. I'm actually going to move the older Reddit reading stories on my other channel to here just to kind of keep everything in the same space. I just want to get everything organized. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I appreciate all the support, especially since this is a new channel. Anyway, I'm just going to jump right into it. So let's get into it. So the very first story that I found for you, I actually found in the Best of Redditor updates. The original post was posted to Am I the A-hole? And it is called Am I the A-hole for locking up my valuables in my own house? I, 21 female, and my boyfriend, 23 male, have been living together for 2 years. There's always been a bit of a money struggle as I used to make more than him, and I usually pick up the slack in our household. However, recently I've started a new job and I'm making a lot less than I was before, which means recently I've become a little bit more cautious about the money that I'm spending. During our relationship, I would usually buy all of his toiletries and most of the household products. I told him I would not be doing this anymore as I need to cut down on my own spending. Also, he works and he's perfectly capable of buying his own things. So I thought that we agreed to this, but recently I've noticed that my really expensive skincare was being used, and a lot of it was being used, as well as my deodorant. I've asked him multiple times to just please not use my stuff, but he never listens, and I even ended up buying him his own stuff so that he would just use that and then stay away from mine. The thing that set me off was I bought myself a $220 face wash that's only supposed to be used sparingly. I have horrible eczema, and I have specific prescriptions for the products that I have to buy, which is why they're so expensive. This face wash, I hadn't used it in a while, but then one day when I went to go pick up the bottle, I realized that it was empty. When I confronted him, he laughed and he's just said, "Oh, don't worry, like, I'll buy you a new one." But then when he realized how expensive it was, he said, "Never mind." At that point, I decided to go and take inventory of all the stuff that I had in the house that I was suspicious that he had been using. And it turns out that he had actually used almost $800 worth of product just in the past 3 months. And I know he isn't naive because I've told him as I'm buying these things, these are my specific things that I need for my skin. Please don't use them. I ended up buying a safe and I put everything that I had left into the safe and then I hid the key. That way, when I go to shower and I need a product, like if I'm having a flare up or something, I know that it's there and I can just open up the safe and I can use it. But when he found out, he completely lost it. He said that I was overreacting and that I don't trust him. Now it's turned into a massive deal, and even my friends think I'm being a bit harsh. But honestly, I just can't afford to be buying this skincare excessively anymore. And he's just not taking it seriously. I don't know what else to do as I've already talked to him. Am I the a-hole? So first of all, I'm not agreeing with the situation whatsoever. I have experienced something not the same, but similar. I don't know if that's just like a huge coincidence or if maybe that's just like a boyfriend thing. But in my personal experience, a long time ago, I had some makeup that was a little bit on the expensive side. I have a bit of a mix of my makeup, some really cheap stuff and some that is more expensive. Anyway, I had this concealer stick that was $80 before tax. So after tax, it was probably like 90 something dollars. I didn't use it very often. So this concealer stick would have lasted me maybe 3 years. So in the grand scheme of things, $90 over the course of a few years, it's not too bad, which is why I went and I spent the money on something a little bit more expensive because I knew it was going to last long. However, my boyfriend found it and it matched his skin tone perfectly. He ended up using the entire thing in a matter of weeks because he would go to some photo shoots and whatever, and it matched him, like I said, really well. So he would just kind of like, he saw it in my makeup bag and he would just use a little bit here and there, and then before you know it, it was all gone. Of course, I went to go and use it one day and it was completely gone, this $90 concealer. So I confronted him and I was like, "What happened? Like, did you use my concealer?" And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I did. I'm so sorry. I'll replace it for you." And then I told him it was $90 and he had no idea. That was just him being a silly goose, and he literally thought it was just like one of the cheaper concealers. I have like $8 concealers too from the drugstore, right? Genuinely, he thought it was just one of those, so it would be no big deal for him to go and like buy another one. He had no idea it was $90, and he apologized, and he did replace it. This is obviously something different though, because she is letting him know this is expensive. Please do not use it. In my opinion, yeah, that was still disrespectful that he was going into my stuff and using my stuff without asking me, but it wasn't like he was purposefully doing it even though I had told him not to. That I think is like a huge difference here. I do understand that sometimes people they can't really comprehend how expensive something is. Therefore, they might be like nonchalantly using it, they're just not thinking about it. They're just like, oh, it's here, I'm just going to quickly use it. They're just being lazy or whatever the case might be. This does not seem like the case. It sounds like this girl has told her boyfriend multiple times, please do not use my things. These are expensive. I can't afford to buy new stuff. And he's just not listening to her. He is being completely disrespectful. He's being lazy. He's perfectly capable of going out and buying his own things, and he needs to do that. And the fact that he used up her skincare and then flat out refused to buy her a new one, that's not right. You want to be with somebody who will own up to their mistakes and fix the situation if they're able to. If he truly couldn't afford to replace it, even just apologizing and saying, I'm so sorry, I did, I messed up. I did use your skincare. It's just that it was there, and, I didn't want to go, walk the 5 feet over to my own, or whatever his excuse might be. An apology would make it so much better, but he's not even apologizing here. He's just completely dismissing her and refusing to fix the situation. And that to me is just completely unfair. If you're in a relationship and you lose that trust, and it comes down to the fact where you're considering buying a safe to hide your valuables in because you live with somebody who you can't trust not to touch your stuff, it's probably time to break up. It's definitely time for therapy. At least time for therapy, if not just break up. You should be trusting the person that you were with, especially if you are at the stage where you were living with them. So there is an update. So the update says, wow, I didn't think this was going to get much of a response. Thank you guys for shattering my rose-tinted glasses. I had a talk with one of my friends who said they had no idea he was taking more than $10 worth of products. And that explains why they were all being so harsh. Unfortunately, we do share a friend group, so the idea of breaking up seems really hard. I sat him down and decided to have a talk to try and convey how important my skincare was. The conversation went on for some time, and I actually thought he might be turning over a new leaf, until he told me that the first year that we were together as a couple, and I had a few flare-ups before finding good products that actually worked for me, he told me that he had been taking my oral steroids that I was prescribed with, thinking that they would make him more buff at the gym. A whole year I battled with insecurities and unbearable pain because I wasn't able to overcome my flare-ups. Honestly, that was the thing that snapped me completely. So now I'm staying at a friend's house for the week, and I'm letting him pack his things while I figure out a place to go. Thanks again to everyone who helped me realize how stupid I was being. That is absolutely unreal. So he's stealing from her. He was literally stealing from her. Not only stealing from her, he was stealing her prescribed medication. What kind of person does that? You go into a relationship having some kind of level of trust. You would never think, or at least I would never think, to check my medication bottles. That's completely unhinged. Oh my gosh. I don't even know what to say except for good riddance to this guy. Okay, moving along. So this next one was posted to AITA, and it was posted 11 days ago. It's called, Am I the a-hole for telling a woman at the gym that she's embarrassing herself? So I go to the gym a lot. About 6-ish months ago, I noticed a woman I'll call Andrea. I don't know if Andrea started going to the gym 6 months ago, but that's at least just when I started to notice her. Full disclosure, I spoke to her, but I had no way of knowing what the result would be. A lot of the machines at the gym have these little entertainment systems, and they can access local channels. So I got on a treadmill and I realized that the TV was not working. Andrea was walking past and I asked, hey, do you know if there's something wrong with the cable? The TV is not working, but I don't know if it's just this one or if it's all of them. And she said that the same thing had just happened to her on a different machine. So I thanked her and that was the whole interaction. A week later, she asked me for some electrolyte powder and I told her I don't have any. And she said, that's cool. And then she asked me how long have I been going to the gym for and what I did for work. I answered and returned her questions. She said she was new to the area and worked in private security. We had a few more chill conversations like that after that. 6 weeks ago, she asked me out. For reasons I won't get into on here, I wasn't interested, so I declined. She said, don't worry about things getting awkward at the gym if we don't work out. And I said, no, that's not the issue. I just wasn't looking to date right now. She kept talking to me. At first, I kept talking to her, but then I started thinking something might be wrong and I started trying to avoid her. And then 2 weeks ago, she came up to me while I was working out on a machine, and this machine, there's only one way for you to properly dismount. And she was standing in the exact place that I had to step off in order to dismount. And she asked, are you avoiding me? I said, yeah, I am, and I apologized. I just don't want to date right now. She said, you don't have to avoid me not to date me. And I said, okay. I kept avoiding her though. Tonight when I was working out, she confronted me again about avoiding her. I had a bad day and I told her flat out to leave me alone. She asked, why are you being so rude? And I said, because I want you to leave me alone. Then I said that she was embarrassing herself and she needs to stop. She put her foot on top of my weights and I thought that she was going to press down on them. So I let go of the bar very quickly and it caused the weights to slam and make a loud noise. And then several people ended up looking in the direction. She said loudly, look who's embarrassing himself, and walked away. Did I go too far by saying that? Do I owe her an apology? I don't understand some people. If I was talking to somebody and they showed any sort of ounce of being not interested in me, like whether it was like in a friendly way or not, if I'm trying to interact with you and you're clearly just like giving me short answers, any sort of vibe like I don't want to talk to you, I wouldn't want to talk to you. People like this scare me. Genuinely scare me. People who don't take no for an answer, that's not okay. If somebody says that they don't want to talk to you, stop talking to them. Just leave them alone. If somebody says, leave me alone, leave them alone. This is crazy. This is actually a little bit psychotic. She obviously has an issue with people saying no to her. Maybe it's a point of control. I don't know. But that's scary. And then the standing on the weights thing, that is terrifying. That is terrifying. That's so dangerous. Like he could have been seriously hurt. And then the stepping in front of the machine so that he can't get off unless he talks to her. Oh my gosh. He needs to report her, first of all. If there was a line to be crossed, she is miles. She is so far beyond that line. Like she can't even see it anymore. You remember in the Friends episode where Joey's like, the line, you're so far past the line is a dot to you. That's what's going on with this lady. The line is a dot to you. Anyway, there is an update, so I'm just going to get right into it. Update. I went in early this morning for a run and told the front desk about Andrea putting her foot on the weights. They said that they would talk to her. Then, after work, I went in again for a regular workout. I was working on my legs when she walked up to the machine. The first thing she did was apologize about the weights. So I don't know if the staff mentioned something to her or whether she just decided that she was insane and just wanted to apologize. Who knows? But I accepted her apology. And then I apologized for saying to her that she was embarrassing herself. She said that she forgave me, but if I really wanted to make it up to her, I could buy her a drink. And she would buy me one too to make up for the weights. I said, maybe we should just buy our own drinks and leave it at that. And what I meant by that was like, we should just not go out for drinks together. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to be funny, and she misunderstood. And she said, okay, when and where? I told her I meant that I don't want to go out with her. I don't want to have a drink with her. And she said, don't worry. It wouldn't be a date. It would just be a reset to the friendship. And I said, I don't want to be friends. She said I was being a douche and then asked me what my problem was. I said the weight incident made me feel uncomfortable, and I would rather just give each other space. She then asked me if my problem with her was that she was Hispanic. I was taken aback. I didn't even know that she was until she said that. I said no. She just makes me uncomfortable. She wanted me to explain to her exactly what it was about her that made me uncomfortable. I tried to do so, but then she just kept arguing with every single point that I was making. I got frustrated and I told her to please just go away. Just stay away from me. She said fine, and that I have a lot of maturing to do. Then she walked away. I'm hoping that that's the end of it. Oh my god, this girl. She needs to be kicked out of the gym. That to me is harassment. If somebody tells you, hey man, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to be friends with you, I don't want to go out on a drink with you, stay away from me. How many times in this post did he tell her, stay away from me, stop talking to me? That's harassment at this point. Oh my gosh. And to do this in the gym, the fact that the staff aren't doing anything is crazy. Like, I don't know if they talked to her. He doesn't really confirm whether or not the staff even talked to her about the weights. But at this point, he needs to go to them and be like, listen, like, she won't leave me alone and I'm asking her to leave me alone, because that's inappropriate. That is not okay. If somebody tells you, they don't need a reason. Okay, first of all, you do not need a reason to not talk to somebody. You don't need a reason. If you are going up to somebody and trying to speak to them and they tell you, like, I don't want to talk to you, they don't need to give you a reason. Just stop talking to them. Just take no for a no and just stop. Leave them alone. That's it. Simple. Craziness. Absolutely unhinged, wild behavior. Psychotic. Can I say it's psychotic? It's a little bit psychotic. The weights thing, the standing on the weights thing and keeping him from getting off a loaded machine, that's psychotic. You can't even argue with me about that. That's psychotic. That's dangerous. That's putting him in danger. And then that twist, the twist to try to make it racist at the end. Oh my god. Oh my god. Whew. Weird. Okay. Do I need to read any other comments? Let me see. The top comment says, the minute her foot went onto those weights, it became really important to report this. I'm sorry you stumbled across a gym stalker. I did so a few years ago and it chased me out of the gym entirely. Yeah, she's basically a stalker at this point. She's definitely harassing him. It sucks though, because like if he shouldn't have to leave the gym for this behavior. She should get booted out of the gym, not him. Okay, let's move on. Moving along. This was posted to Best of Redditor updates. So the original was posted, let me see. Ooh, the original was posted on May 14th, so a month ago. So this is still kind of like a fairly new story. That's exciting. Let's see. The original post was posted to Relationship Advice a month ago, and it says, what are my next steps after I found my wife in a compromising position with my friend? It says, this is not a clear-cut cheating story, so I'm truly at a loss. My wife and I have been married for 15 plus years with kids. About 2 years ago, we started hanging out with this couple that we met through school. We've gotten really close. I consider the guy my friend, and my wife hangs out with the wife. When the four of us hang out with our families, there's usually a good amount of alcohol involved. The event in question happened last night, right before Mother's Day, and I still haven't digested it yet. We were hanging out with the other couple, just as usual, when my wife went into the kitchen with the other husband to refill their drinks. I had mostly a full glass, and I was pretty comfy on the couch, still talking to the other wife, when I decided to go into the kitchen for whatever reason. When I got to the kitchen, I saw my wife with her back leaning against the wall, laughing, and the husband leaning over her with his mouth really close to her neck, almost like kissing her or something. They were both pretty drunk. Immediately, I screamed, "What is going on?" They both jumped apart, shocked, and were looking at me. My wife kept saying she could explain. It was like something out of a really bad Lifetime movie. We were all talking over each other, and then I started heading out to the car, grabbing the kids on the way. I was about to leave her there, but then she climbed in the passenger seat. I wasn't about to kick her out of the car with the kids sitting in the back seat, so we ended up just driving home in complete silence. When we got home, my wife started crying. She told me that this is what happened. Weeks ago, he started doing random small things to her when we all hung out. If me and his wife's back were turned, he would grab her or touch her hair. The most they spoke about it was that she would say he should really stop doing those things, but then kept letting him or finding ways to be alone momentarily with him. She claims that they never communicated by text or phone call, they never met up, and they never even kissed. In retrospect, I do think that she was subtly flirting with him, but I thought at the time it was just like the usual gentle teasing that we would all kind of do as friends, nothing serious. I asked her if they were going to kiss that night had I not walked in, and she said she's not sure, but she may have let him. She says she's not even physically attracted to him, but she enjoyed the validation that she got from him putting the moves on her. She does have a long history of requiring reassurance that she's attractive and that I'm still into her. She immediately let me have her phone and search through it. I didn't find any text between them. I asked her then if this would have led to sex, and she adamantly said no. The worst thing was that when I asked her if she fantasized about him when she was with me or if she was alone, she said no to thinking about him when she was with me, but that she would occasionally think about him when she was alone. Needless to say, I'm cutting off all contact with my friend. I told my wife I'm thinking about divorce. She begged me to reconsider. She's telling me we'll go to counseling, I can track her location, all the things. But this really sucks. I don't know if I can get past this betrayal. I don't know how I can trust her again. And I also don't know how I can leave what I thought was an amazing marriage and give our kids a broken home without attempting to try to work through this. I can't talk to any of my friends or family about this because it makes me sick. I feel embarrassed that I let this happen. It's been hard pretending to be happy on Mother's Day just for the sake of our kids. I can't concentrate at work. At home, my wife just cries all the time. What do I do? Man, I cannot even begin to imagine how difficult that would be. Not even just the situation itself, but also just the complexity of not truly knowing what exactly happened or what would have happened had he not walked in there. Because sure, maybe she's telling the truth, maybe nothing happened, maybe nothing has happened before, but just to open up this whole new concept of not knowing and that loss of trust. And they were married for what, 15 years, they said? My world would completely crash just from not knowing. Like, for some reason, I feel like if he had seen something happen, it would be easier because that way you would at least know. But the whole not knowing and just going off of what they say, that to me is the hardest part. The unknown, the what if. So that just sucks. That sucks. Hopefully they do end up going to counseling or couples therapy or something. Hopefully nothing ever really did happen, but there is an update. So the update was about 2 weeks ago, and it says, sorry, it's taken me a while to get back to this, but I've been really busy, as you can imagine. I appreciate all the support and all the advice for this difficult situation. Shortly after the original post, I did reach out to the other wife, asking if we can meet in person or at least talk on the phone to see if the stories matched. She pretty much responded with the version of, we're planning on moving forward as a family, and talking about it with you would not be conducive to that process for us. She wished me peace and some BS, and then blocked both of us. I know there's other ways to contact them, but I'm just not going to press it. We decided to start marriage counseling, and we have an appointment set up this week. I also finally convinced my wife to get therapy for her issues as well, but her appointment is until later in June. She's still being transparent, and then whenever I question her about anything, she answers. She's still maintaining that all she ever did was flirt, and there was like a few touches here and there while we were all hanging out, but she would have never met up with him outside of that. She said that she enjoyed the thrill of being found desirable by somebody that was taboo. It got to her head. I looked through her phone many times, again more thoroughly, and I didn't find any deleted texts, apps, etc. I even looked up websites on how to catch cheating on phones and followed their advice on how to search. I hate to disappoint most of you who commented, but I'm trying to give her this benefit and move forward with our marriage for now. She's been an amazing wife otherwise. I do know that maybe I'll never have 100% of the truth. I'm not an idiot. I don't trust her fully, but maybe one day I can get there. Here's the tricky part. Our kids are in the same elementary school as theirs, and my wife is involved in the PTA. So there's a guarantee that we will run into this family. It's actually pretty surreal to go from being such good friends to no contact. My wife has begged me not to divulge any of this to anyone at the school or mutual friends, as she doesn't want our kids to lose friends or our family to be stigmatized. I do see her point about that, but I did follow your advice and I spoke to a couple of my best friends from before all this transpired. They were shocked that she would do this, but they were supportive when I told them I was trying to forgive her. I'm thinking about getting a therapist though. I still don't want to tell anyone in my family because they can keep grudges and would use this against her forever. Finally, I'm sorry I made the original post to make it seem like we were alcoholics. It's really not the case. We would get together maybe like 2 or 3 times a month, and that was our main social drinking outlet. We would maybe have like 3 to 4 drinks, and then that was it. Except for the one who was a DD. I just mentioned it to give some context to the story. Thank you again for the comments. It was helpful to have a place to go initially for this stuff before I was ready to talk to people. It still feels like my life has turned upside down, and I'm hoping that it was all a bad dream, but I think I've accepted it better for now. So there's obviously a lot to unpack here. First of all, I do want to say I am glad that they're mentioning that they don't want to talk to anybody because they're worried about the kids. I think that's a really valid point, to not talk to your friends about it, at least your friends who maybe go to the school or know people who go to the school, because gossip, it'll spread so quickly, so fast. And just because there's children involved, you don't really want to be bringing kids into your marital problems. You don't want your kids to be known as, you know, the kids with cheating parents or whatever it is that may happen. You know how kids are. Kids can be absolutely ruthless. So I think that that is really important, to at least not talk to people about it that are in the school. But I am glad that he did find some friends that he was able to talk to about it and that he's not alone. Also, the fact that she mentioned that she fantasizes about this guy when she's alone, and that if her husband didn't walk in, they might have kissed or whatever. But that's like a slap in the face to me. I mean, the whole thing is a slap in the face. I don't think that I can move forward from that. I don't think so. But OP wants to, apparently. So I definitely think that therapy is necessary for him and for them together. Marriage counseling, couples counseling, plus personal therapy for the both of them, which sounds like it's their plan. The whole situation is just so unfortunate. It is unfortunate. If I were in that situation, I think that would be it for me, just because I couldn't live with having that unknown, having that constant wonder. Also, it was really weird that the other wife just completely shut him down when OP was trying to contact her and get more information, and she just said, "No, sorry, I just want to move on with my marriage." Block. That's so annoying. I'm sorry. That's so annoying. I mean, I understand it, but that would be so frustrating to me. I hate not knowing. I hate not having answers to things. Wow. I hope he does go to therapy. He definitely needs it. That would absolutely just turn my world upside down. Just all the trust, just out the window, just like that. That's insane. All right. Well, I'm just gonna do 3 stories for now. I am going to be doing another video shortly after this because this video is running a little bit long. So that is all I'm going to give you for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you do like this type of content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate you all, and I will see you again soon. Bye.